Oh my gosh, everybody, you guys, I am so excited to have Kimberly Romano on the podcast today. I'm like, my heart is racing. I can't, my smile is hurting because she is going to blow your freaking mind. And because she blew my mind. And we recently met at BBD Live back in December, which was like a business conference we went to. And it's just like ever since we met, it's just been this like instant connection. We're so aligned with so many of our values, how we're so growth oriented, and just like, yeah, Kimberly, I admire you so much. And you guys, I just before we even like get started into all the juiciness, I just have to say, you won't even believe how much she is able to bring in income wise, revenue wise into her business through mini sessions and specifically branding mini sessions. I'm going to let her dive into that, into the numbers and all of that. But I just wanted to like kind of like hook you in because your mind is going to be blown at what's possible of what mini sessions can do for your business and what mini sessions even are. Like I totally had the wrong idea of what, not the wrong idea, but I think I have an expanded idea now of what's possible with mini sessions. So welcome, Kimberly. I am so excited.
Thank you, Sarah. Wow, what an incredible introduction and welcome to be here today to talk with you and your guests. And I am just so pumped up, so excited to just dive into this conversation and have a blast. And I'm so excited for everybody to just sit around the table with us and listen in.
Yeah, literally, pretty much. We're just sipping our coffee and going to be chatting at like how we always chat with each other. It's just going to be recorded this time.
I love it.
Yeah, and actually, what's like calling me right now, and I already it was popping into my mind many times before we even started recording. I feel like you were just such a freaking inspiration to so many people at BBD Live with what happened for you, the transformational experience that happened, and how that even was even a catalyst for us because we met before the moment happened for you on stage.
That's
And
right.
Kimberly is going to tell the story in a second, but yeah, we met before, and then this happened on stage. And because me and you already met, I felt like I could just like run up to you and hug you and congratulate you with like what happened. So you were such an inspiration to like literally 1,000 people in the room with what you did. So tell everybody on here, because I feel like these stories, first of all, we all love stories as humans, and we love stories of overcoming fear and, having courage, and then the transformation that can come in literally, what was that, a 4-minute experience, 5-minute total, maybe less. So do you want to tell everybody the experience that you had at BBD Live?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to talk about a spiritual awakening to possibility. This was the epitome of that. And just to give everybody a little bit of context to what we're talking about, for those that are unfamiliar with BBD, it is a program for coaches and mentors or anyone who has a membership to create an online program and be able to serve their people. And so we're at this conference, and they have lots of different ways of making the whole thing very interactive with their audience and very fun. And one of the things that James challenged us to do from the very beginning was to do something that made a big impact, right? Like make a big, bold move, step really outside your comfort zone and take that action. And when you do, write it down on a piece of paper, what you did with your name, you put it in this fishbowl, and he's going to do drawings. And there's this big prize wheel, like totally think like Wheel of Fortune, prize wheel type thing. And so I had done something that morning that was completely unplanned and way outside of my comfort zone, which was create an email, draft an email to launch my program that honestly I hadn't even really put together yet. I just knew that this was going to come together. And so I was trying to do pre-sales for it and get people in the door and help have them help me create this program so that I was really honing in on exactly what people needed from me. And so I created the launch email. So I wrote on the little paper when he told us about this game that we were going to play.
Yeah.
I wrote launch RMS, Roadmap to Mini Sessions, the name of my program. And so I put it in the bowl, and then I see a bunch of people put their papers in after mine. And I don't know about you, but I don't get drawn in these types of things. I just don't ever win at these types of things. So I never even gave it another thought. I'm just like, you know what? You're
Yeah.
just putting it out there that this is what you're doing. You're just claiming it a little bit more and just making it more of a reality. And that was a big enough win for me. I didn't need anything more than that.
Mm.
So they go to pull the first time and they pull this lady's card out and they just say her name. They don't say what was on her paper.
Yeah.
He comes up, she spins it, wins this incredible, very expensive coffee machine. And I was like, how amazing would it be to win this coffee machine? Like, what a great prize. And I was so excited for her. And as I was kind of like literally envisioning like what it would be like to sit and sip a cup of coffee from this coffee machine, all of a sudden I hear him say, wait, somebody launched already? Like it's Friday morning. Like you've launched already? And I was like, wait a second. I
Oh my.
wrote launch on my paper. And as I'm thinking this, he goes, where's Kimberly Romano?
Oh.
And because my mom's listening, I'm not going to say what I said. And so I like shyly stand up and I'm
Oh yeah.
like, I'm here. And he's like, come
And
over
by the way,
here.
you guys, this is a room of 1,000 people in the audience. Like,
Yeah, so this is not a small conference. So he calls me over and he wants me to explain what this is. And all I kept thinking about was, wait, the other person didn't have to explain
yeah,
what
yeah.
they did. Like they didn't have to share the story. Like so I was completely frozen. My mind was blank. I thought for sure, I even feel like I'm reliving this experience in my chest right now. I can totally feel the same emotions. But I just told him, I was like, I launched my program. I wrote the email to launch my program. And so he was like, that's incredible. So he's like, go ahead and spin it. And so I spun it and I won like it was a 360 camera. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay, great. Okay, this is all over. I can go sit down and I don't have to worry about a thing. And then the next day, what I didn't realize is that even though your name got pulled, it still went back in the fishbowl.
Oh
So
my God, I
I
totally
thought that
forgot.
because I was pulled on the first day, that was it. I had no other chances of being pulled. I got pulled, I spun the wheel, I won my prize, and it's done, right?
Yeah.
Like I can just be here for the rest of the conference. And so he pulls out a paper. And oh no, let me back up a second
Yeah.
because you and I were coming back from lunch, I think.
Yeah. From
And we
the
were walking in the
VIP
hallway
next
and
level one.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, at BBD.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were walking back to the
Oh,
conference
yeah.
room and we hear like a bunch of cheering in there. And you like tap me on the shoulder a gazillion times and you're like, oh, it started, he's pulling, he's doing the prize giveaway, the wheel spinning thing or whatever. We have to get it. And we both start, we run and we dart and we weren't sitting next to each other. So as soon as we entered the room, we separated and we went
Yeah.
to our own seats. And during this whole thing, the person is spinning and blah, blah, blah. I don't even know who it was or anything of the sort.
Yeah.
So I sit down and I'm like, okay, good. Like, didn't really miss anything. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he pulls out the next one and he starts kind of like leaning over to Jenny and he's like, is this the same one as yesterday? And I go, no way. There's no way it could be me again. And once again, he goes, where is Kimberly Romano?
I remember that.
Now I am even more terrified because I'm like, I haven't done anything else.
Hmm.
Like I am so convinced that because I hadn't done anything else and I had already spun that they were just going to ask me to nicely sit down and I would have been very happy to do so.
Yeah.
So he brings me over and I remember sitting there thinking like, oh my God, this is exactly what my husband does, where he's like, well, what did you do? And like really pushing to get something out of me. And I had nothing. And he's like, well, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do next? Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't thought past this point yet. Like, it's been not even 24 hours yet. And you're giving us all this information to consume. This is not even a thought process for me. So while all of this is going on in my head, the crowd starts screaming out, go live, go
Go
live.
live.
And I'm like, I didn't realize what was happening first. And then James asked me, he's like, do you want to go live? And I was like, huh? And he's like, have you ever gone live before? And I'm like, no, not on Instagram. I've never gone live on Instagram before. And he's like, well, do you think you could do it? And I was like, well, sure. Well, how long can you do it in? Because we have a schedule, we have a time frame. So like now he's putting all this pressure on me to do something I've never done before and to do in a really small time frame because we got to keep the schedule. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, James telling me we got to keep a schedule.
Yeah.
Like you want to
Yeah.
talk about an oxymoron.
Yeah.
But so I was like, I don't know. I could do it in like maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And he starts looking around like, okay, where's the steps? Come on up here. Next thing I know, I am up on stage and I have never done a live before. So I'm fiddling with my phone. I'm like, James, I'm like, I don't even know what to do. How do you even go? Like, what button do you push on
Yeah.
Instagram? Like, how do you even do this? And so he's pulling it all up for me and getting me all set up and ready to go. And I'm like, James, I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to start. And he gave me this like guidance and direction. And he's like, you start by saying that you're here at BBD and that you're on stage live in front of 1,000 people. And this is what you have to share. And then just go into it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And I remember standing up on stage and I have my back to the audience so that in the video you could see the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just let it flow. I didn't think about what I was saying and I just let it flow. And when it was over, like I had this huge surge of energy. I like practically fell to the ground. Meanwhile, I'm thinking I have ended the live and it didn't actually end.
Yeah.
Everybody is screaming and I
Cheering.
just
Yeah.
cheering like crazy. Jenny and James are just going berserk for me. And there was all of this incredible energy that was literally surrounding me and absorbing into my body. And right then in that moment, I felt inspired to grab a microphone and share with the audience, like, look, this is what people want. They want to see your messiness. They want to see that you don't have your shit together. They want to see you just go out and do and step outside your comfort zone. And if I can do this right here in front of all of you without being prepared, without giving it a second thought, then you can do it too. And I feel like I can go live anytime that I want. I felt so empowered in that moment. And it really, truly was a catalyst moment for me of showing me what I was capable of doing.
I'm literally, do you see me crying? I'm like totally in tears. Like, it's just that moment was like so powerful and like you're just so inspiring. And the fact that you had that surge of energy and you then just like used it and alchemized into even taking the microphone and then talking to the room of 1,000 people and saying what you just said and just flowing with it. And then you impacted so many people. Like you even mentioned to me how Madeline was like, you gave me so much. I received so much from you going through that. So oh my God, that was crazy. And thank you for sharing that experience
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I know that those stories can just be so inspiring. And, we all have moments in our lives where we're like a little bit stuck in like fear and indecision and overthinking. And maybe someone who's listening to that is feeling that right now. And maybe your story is like, you know what? They're going to be like, I'm just going to stop overthinking. I'm just going to let it flow. Just going to let it flow because what's the worst that can happen?
Surrender.
Yeah.
It really is about surrendering and just living in the moment and just giving in and just casting aside any attachment to what happens, right? And
Hmm.
just like when we have any kind of attachment to an outcome, we are therefore living in the future, in a
Yep.
future that hasn't even happened yet. It is literally a story that we're telling ourselves with zero evidence that it's actually going to transpire in the 3D. And when we surrender, that is us telling the universe, God source, whatever you resonate with, it is literally telling them, hey, it doesn't matter. I just know that this is what I'm supposed to do right now. And I'm just going to do it and allow whatever to transpire to allow. And I'm just going to be open to whatever it is that I'm here to receive from this experience, whether it's good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter, because none of it is bad or ugly. There's always something. And when you can shift your perspective to the actions that you take, that you're going to receive something out of it, everything changes, because now you feel like you're in a safe place that you can move forward with that action, because it doesn't matter what happens on the other side. You're still going to gain from it.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you. And thank you for just like me randomly being like, hey, can you tell us that story?
Yeah, because we did talk about that.
No. No, I'm just flowing here. But okay,
Yeah.
so let's get to this amazing topic that I'm so freaking excited to talk about. And I think let's get started. Maybe let everybody know how your first launch of your mini sessions went, how much you ended up generating in revenue, and how long the time slots were, all the details. We'll start there, and then maybe even tell us um, like actually no, start there and then I'll go to the next question.
Okay. All right. Sure. So my very first mini sessions, I created it so that it could accommodate 8 participants. They were going to have a 30-minute photo shoot with me. And I want to say that I was promising like around 15 or 20 images. And it was going to be $1,000. So $1,000 times 8 people is $8,000 day. And I was able to fill up all of the slots on my very first time launching this offer within days. And then I was able to repeat it 6 months later.
That's insane. I know someone is sitting there right now in the car or walking and they're just like, wait, $1,000 session for 30 minutes and about 20 photos, 8 of them in one day, all booked in a
Yeah.
handful of days. Yes.
Yes.
This, you guys, this is what we're going to dive deep into. This is what Kimberly has been able to freaking master and get incredible at, and what she teaches. And okay, and then so let's go into then, because you weren't you didn't always do mini sessions, right?
Right.
And at one point you even swore them off,
I
right?
absolutely did.
So what's the story around that? Like, what was your perspective before about mini sessions, and then what shifted for you to be like, let me try this out?
So the perspective that I had was that they were a complete and utter waste of time. And I had this perspective because when I was a wedding photographer, I did offer mini sessions. Now, I was very picky about my mini sessions back then, and it was your traditional, 15-minute, just a handful of images type of thing. But I only very specifically offered it to my couples. So it was a way of them getting, a quick holiday photo from a photographer that they knew and they trust. And I was working with people that I knew and I trust. I wasn't just pulling in some random people for portraits and things of that sort. So it was very strategic when I did it. And, I think I offered like $250 or $300 for these sessions or whatnot. And it was just the worst experience. I mean, people were running late. They wanted to do more. They were just like, it's that whole concept that a lot of photographers have from either personal experience or hearing stories of other photographers doing it, where you're bringing in this particular type of client that only just wants more, and they want to pay the least amount, and they're going to run you dry, they're going to run you over, and they're going to try to get as much out of you, constantly asking for more, and not really giving you anything back in return for the request. And
Mhm.
so, after playing it out and having these experiences, and also being a mini session participant myself, because I had photographer friends in the area, and my husband, as incredible as he is in front of the camera, doesn't really like to do photo shoots. So this was a really easy way of
Yeah.
getting updated photos for ourselves. So I've been on both sides of it, and I would watch my photographer friend do all of these sessions, and I I'd see what she charged. I'd see all the slots that she'd have, and she'd do it for multiple days in a row. And she was nowhere near $8,000. She was only like around a few $1,000s, you know. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, like that is just so much work. Why do it for such little return?
Mhm.
And so that's when I literally swore off mini sessions, that I would never, ever, 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 ever do them again. And
Mhm.
then fast forward quite a few years after I had transitioned from wedding photography to personal branding photography, I was in, I want to say, my second or third year of business. And I was in a 6-month mastermind with another brand photographer who was extremely successful. She's an incredible human being and photographer and mentor. And I was just very excited to be in a part of her program. And it came to the point where we started talking about our offers and promotions, and she brought up mini sessions. And this was more towards, halfway through the year. And I really wasn't on track for hitting my quarterly goal.
Mhm.
And so, in talking with her, like, what is something that I could do to hit this goal? She's like, well, have you ever thought about doing mini sessions? That way, you're just doing one day's worth of work instead of trying to bring on multiple clients to do over multiple days. And I was like, oh, no, mm-mm, no, no, you have to come up with a different answer because I'm not doing a mini session. I've been there, done that. No, there's no way I'm doing that much work for that little. And so she started to share about how she does these mini sessions for like 8 to 10 people, and she charges $1,000. She's like, well, how does $8,000 feel to you? And I was like, well, that feels amazing, but how am I going to get anybody to pay $1,000 for a mini session? So I left the call and I started to, like, you know what, just be open and just play around with it, put together an offer and just see how it feels to you. So I
Mhm.
did that, and it felt a lot better than I expected it to. So, what I then did is I reached out to everybody on my wait list for my regular full sessions. And either they were on the wait list because I didn't have any space for them when they wanted to do a photo shoot, they couldn't afford my full sessions just yet, or any other reason they ended up on my wait list. So, I sent an email out to them and I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. This is kind of what it would look like. Nothing is set in stone. Do you have any interest in this at all whatsoever? And I was shocked at the response. I had so many yeses. So I thought, what the hell? Why not? Just throw this together and let's just do this.
Yeah.
So I did. And I decided, because the people on my wait list were already interested. I mean, warm audience, that's where you pitch.
Yeah.
So I gave them an opportunity to land a spot before I opened it up, quote unquote, to the public.
Yeah. Yeah.
Within 24 hours, I had 4 slots filled.
Oh my
Half
gosh.
the spots were gone. The next day, I think like 2 more went. So I literally went into launching this and offering it to the public, saying,
Yeah.
hey, there's 8 slots and there's only like 2 or 3
2 left.
left.
Oh,
You want to
amazing.
talk about creating demand.
Yeah.
Literally within 48 hours of opening it, everything was filled. And then I had people still trying to reach out after the spots were filled, saying, when's the next one? And I wasn't even thinking about the next one.
Yeah.
I really just thought that this was going to be like this one-time thing to help me hit my goal. So I told him, I was like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to continue doing this or not. Let me get through this one. Let me see how it goes, how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And it went incredibly well. Everything went really smoothly. I had it extremely planned out. I applied the process that I have for my full sessions. I made a few little adjustments to make it more accommodating to mini sessions, and I
Mhm.
implemented it. And I had so many people come back saying it was so much more than they expected it to be from a mini session, even though it was 30 minutes, that all the planning that was involved, they didn't expect. And the outcome of the photo shoot just blew their minds. So I launched it again 6 months later, and practically the same thing happened all over again.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. So you just gave people the gift of expand, like you're right now you're someone's expander. like, you know, those moments in our lives where we're just like in our living our day to day, running our business, and then we hear something on a podcast or something, and it's just like, wait, if that's possible for them, I could do that. And that could be, this could be life changing for someone. So, like, I'm so impressed with you and also so grateful that you're sharing this on the podcast. And I'm curious because so now, because you did mention, I think when we were talking earlier, that you've shifted things a little. So you've decided to increase your
Mhm.
rate, change the offer a little bit. So what does that look like now? Because of course our businesses are always changing and evolving, and we're creating them by like what's aligned with us, right? So how has
Right.
that evolved for you now?
So, just to give a little pretext to this, when I created this 8 participant, 30 minutes, literally giving myself 15 minutes in between each client, that was very aligned to the hustle that I was doing inside of my business to get me to where I was.
Yes.
And that felt incredible for me and total alignment for me at the time. So I told you that I launched this the first time in the fall, and then I did it 6 months later, which would put that in the spring. And I had planned to launch it again that following fall, same exact offer, the whole thing. Well, in the summer of that year, I ended up getting hit with a huge health debacle. And I won't get into all those details, but long story short, it pretty much wiped me out for the rest of the year. I didn't work or do photo shoots pretty much for the rest of the year. So there was no way that I was going to be able to conduct that mini session again.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of the year, when I was starting to come back and having a little bit more of a recovery, I was totally mentally prepared to just jump right back in and go right back to what I was doing, even though there was this pull inside of me that was like, this is no longer your path. This is no longer your way of doing things. And that really scared me because I was getting this hit that this is no longer the way, but I wasn't getting a hit that was what the way was going to
Yeah.
be.
Oh, yeah. I know
So,
what you mean by that. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, well, wait a second. You can't just leave me hanging like
Yeah.
that. Like, so I, for several months, really leaned into, really just removed myself, took away the pressure of I have to jump right back in and said, okay, this health debacle happened for a reason. It's time for a major shift in my life. And I really need to lean in on what that actually looks like for me. And I did this through a lot of energy healing and shamanic healings. I work with a shaman to really work on myself as a human, not necessarily just my business. Because I knew that having this personal growth would then overflow and spill over into my business. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So the main thing that I came to realize first is that I just needed to slow down. And the hustle that's behind the 30-minute with a 15-minute in between each person was no longer in alignment for what I needed for my next level self.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely restructured my mini sessions so that I was able to double the time with my clients, allowing slow down to happen with them. And then I gave myself 45 minutes in between each client to allow slow down for myself, to be able to decompress from the first session and prepare myself for the next person so that they would feel like it was like they were the only photo shoot client that day. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want them to feel any other way. And that
Yeah.
was really, really important to me to be able to recharge my own energy, to be able to show up that way for them. And everybody's energies work differently, so some people are wired to be able to do that kind of a hustle throughout the day,
Yeah.
and that plan's going to work for a lot of people. It just no longer was in alignment for me. So what I did was, because I was increasing the time, I increased the price. So it went from being $1,000 of a person to $1,350 a person. And the first time that I launched it earlier this year, I also filled up all 4 slots immediately.
Yeah. Amazing. Like, and your boundary, like what felt right for you was to have 4 slots in that day, right?
Yes.
That's incredible. So like the fact that first of all it takes so much courage to lean into what our soul needs and actually implement that, when it's like the logical mind is like, but it worked. $8,000, 8 sessions in a
Right.
day. Like it worked. It worked. Oh, why do you want to tweak it? Why do you want to tweak it? But like your call to slow down, to do it a little bit differently, create more spaciousness in the experiences you create. Like, and you're like, okay, this is what I want to do now. This is what feels good. I'm going to try this out now. And then you sold that out too.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy for you because that takes a lot of courage, and
Thank
like
you.
it's very inspiring that you did that. And also like the fact that you were so you're just so self-aware and all of these, steps along the way to make those shifts. So that's amazing. And I want to go into, what was I was gonna ask a question. There's just like so many things that I'm excited about. What was there was something that I wanted to, oh, that's what it was. Okay, because now we're getting into the territory of like, okay, wait, now we're not just at 1,000, we're like going up into the thousands. It's like 1,350. It's like,
Mhm.
what if someone's thinking right now, they're listening to this podcast and they're like, why do you call them mini sessions? Like, why is it a mini session? If it's now an hour long and 1350, how is that a mini session? So what would you say about that?
Well, mini session is a very relative term, right? And within the photography industry, it has been put together and connected with a label of cheap, quick, not quality. And so a lot of people have this concept of this is what a mini session is, and this is the only thing that a mini session is. And I'm here to tell you that there can be so many other perspectives of what a mini session can be. And this offer that I have of just 1 hour with me is quote unquote mini in comparison to my full 3 hour session. So it
Mhm.
is mini, not in size, relative term
Yeah.
to my actual full session. So when people are looking at my offers, they're able with pure clarity because I'm not getting super creative with the name. Can you? Of course. But,
Yeah.
as James says, we want clarity over creativity.
Yeah.
And so for me, labeling it as a mini session gave those that are inquiring and wanted to work with me that clarity of what this was as a whole for all of my offers.
And that just makes so much sense. Like that's exactly when I hear mini session, I think, okay, $300. That's like anywhere from 100 to like $350, $400 for anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, like in that
Mhm.
kind of bubble. And then, images, like who knows, there's a spectrum of how many strategies you can use around it, but that's always where my mind went. But as soon as you said, my mini session offer is mini in comparison to my main offer,
Mhm.
that just makes so much sense, because then it doesn't even matter what the industry quote unquote standard of a mini session is. It really doesn't matter. It's in comparison to your other offer. So like
Right.
for example, if someone has like, so for me, for example, I feel like, I don't really do mini sessions much, but then in the winter, um, I recently did them because I was like, just itching to shoot, and I haven't been shooting for like 5, 6 months. And I'm like, I got inspired to like host a bunch of them. So if for me a couple session is $1,000 for an hour and a half,
Mhm.
then mini for me was $350 for half an hour. Like
Mhm.
that was mini for me. And so
Right.
I offered that, and that's what I did. But then there's other photographers that have, document, let's even go to family sessions, like documentary family session,
Mhm.
day offer, full day documentary session coverage. Let's say it's $3,000.
Mhm.
Let's say. Then let's say if a family is like, we don't want the whole day, we want like 3 hours documented. Okay, 1,500 or 1,200, whatever. That'll be mini.
Yeah. In
So
comparison, it's
exactly.
smaller. Mini
Yeah.
means small. So
Yeah.
it's a smaller offer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's from,
Because
and it's there for those that like you said, you mentioned earlier, it's like some clients just like didn't need that big of a package, or some needed to take more time to save up, and like this is just that option that is there for them if it's like a more accessible offer.
I have the perfect client example for
Yeah.
this. So I have a client, I'm not going to give her name just for privacy's sake, but she met me through one of my main reoccurring clients. And she was super excited. I remember the first time that she inquired with me, and we got on a call, and she was like, I'm just not financially in a position to do this right now. So I said, hey, no problem. Completely understand. I don't ever want you to feel stressed. I don't want you to spend money that you don't feel like you have. I will be here. I'm not going anywhere. So circle back around when it's the right time for you. So she asked to be put on the wait list. So I put her on the wait list. So when I made this launch offer for the very first time, she was all over it, because for her, it was finally an opportunity to work with me at a price point that she felt comfortable with.
Mhm.
So I was able to present an opportunity for somebody to do something that they know is the right path and right decision for them, that's going to help them in their business growth. But it's a way of them being able to do it right now instead of them having to wait until
Yeah.
later. I moved up the timeline for her
Mhm.
by creating this offer. And she did that mini session. She did the mini session after that. And then she ended up, she's like, okay, I'm ready to do a full session. I'm ready to invest in a full session. And she bought my biggest package that has, at the time, had 2 full sessions in it that you just needed to complete within 1 year of each other.
Mhm.
And so back to what I was stating earlier, my mini sessions at the time were 30 minutes. Okay, when she was doing them, and my full sessions were 3 hours. So that's a big difference. You have to have
Yeah.
a completely different energy level to get through 3 hours compared to just 30 minutes of it.
Mhm.
So we do the first session in about an hour and a half. I already feel her energy draining. We hit 2 hours and it was starting to plummet. We hit the 2.5 hours and she was done. And it was
Mm.
like, okay, well, we don't ever always have to go to the full 3 hours. I'm not going to push you to do something
Yeah.
because that's going to come across in the images and you're using them to market yourself. You don't want to put that kind of whatever energy you're exuding during the photo shoot is what's going to get captured in the image. And then you put that out there. That's the energy that you're putting out into the world. And I don't want to create that energy for you through the images. So she looked at me and she's like, I don't ever want to do this again. Mini sessions are perfect for me.
Wow.
So we haven't had
Yeah.
her second full-time session yet, but my last set of minis, she bought it. Even though she had this other package, she went back and did another mini session. And at the end of that mini session, she looked at me and she goes, this is perfect. This is perfect because this
Wow.
fits what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I'm getting the most bang for my buck with this offer compared to your other offer.
Wow.
And what this is really about is serving other people and the way that they need to be served. It's
Mhm.
not about us as the photographer. Yes, is it important that we really lean into what we are masters of, what we are here to do and here to help them, and the what we put together to provide a particular transformation, a certain experience that really sets us apart from everybody else. Absolutely. It's vital for you to have evolution in your business to tap into that. But when you limit yourself and you box yourself into only serving people that fit inside that container, you're missing out on what true entrepreneurship for me really means. And that is serving others, because there's other people out there that want to work with you but
Mhm.
can't put in the full time that you require to get to a particular result.
Mhm.
So what you're really telling them is that you cannot work with me because you're not at my level. Well, none of the people that you serve are supposed to be at your level. That's why they're coming to you. They're coming you to get to your level. How can you expect them to show up at your level when they first work with you? If they do, you're not the right person for them, because they need somebody that's at a higher
Mm.
level, even if it's one step up at a higher level. So by offering this smaller session, right? And don't get me wrong, I don't do mini sessions all the time. These
Mhm.
are very limited offers. They're done twice a year. I thought about doing quarterly and I kind of played around with that this year and it's just total out of alignment for me. So, with my regular sessions, you can book those all year round. So, I am
Mhm.
here
Yeah.
mostly to serve those people,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to exclude the people
But
like
you
this
have, yeah.
particular client that really just needs a little something different.
Yeah. No, no,
I'm
that's very
still able to
interesting.
serve him.
Can you just clarify and expand a little bit of what you mean on like um us expecting people to show up at our level? Is it kind of like do you think that sometimes maybe as we grow our businesses, as we evolve, as we start to raise our prices, there could come this like weird artist ego that
Yes.
could, is that what you're talking about, of like a,
Yeah,
well, this is what I
exactly.
charge now, and if you can't handle it, then like
Then you're not
like
good
you're
enough
just,
for me.
yeah.
You're not good
Yeah.
enough to work with me. And it's like, really?
Mm,
What are you really here for? Are you here to boast and show what you're capable of? Or are you here to serve?
yeah. That's a very interesting like thing to touch on, because it's like that being aware of that like ego popping up as you become a little bit more successful is a very interesting thing. And it's like um there, but that also it's that balance and fine line of like, well, this is what I feel most aligned with and drawn to as an artist. This is, I want to, now that I've worked this many years and now that I have this amount of experience, I want to be able to shoot less, make more, go deeper with the clients that I do have, right? So it's
Mhm.
this fine line of like doing it with humility
Right,
and what feels good and aligned to you,
right,
and not offering mini sessions out of guilt or obligation.
right.
I feel like it's like this. I love your passion of how you discovered the story you shared is so good, because you discovered this like need in your community and the people that want to be photographed by you. And you're like, ding, ding, ding. Oh my God. Yes. If I just offer this twice a year, then I make that available to them. And
Right.
I
And
think that's such an
showing
amazing takeaway. And, and if it feels aligned with you, then it's like, oh, yes, I can offer this. But also on the flip side, it's like, let's make sure we're not offering mini sessions out of guilt and obligation, because I also do know photographers that feel like, oh, I can't raise my prices because I feel too guilty that I'm less accessible. Right? There's so many layers like to this stuff, but
there's definitely a lot of layers. And
yeah,
what it really comes down to is possibility, and not just possibility for you as a photographer, because, of course, that's important because we're here to evolve as humans.
yeah,
Right. So we don't want to keep ourselves in a box that keeps us where we're at. You want to constantly evolve. And as you're evolving, you are going to attract a whole new level of people. Like that's just the nature of evolution, especially when you're living in alignment, you become magnetic. So you are going to
yeah,
attract a whole new set of people. But inside that whole new set of people are multiple levels of where they are at in their career and their own development and the season of
yeah,
life that they're experiencing right now. So as you evolve, your ideal clients are going to evolve, but that's not just one level of a person, right? It's very easy for egos to get caught up in where we're currently at and only wanting to have people at that same level or above us. But we're
mhm,
forgetting about all the people below us. No matter what level of success that you experience inside of your career, no matter what industry that you're in, if
mhm,
you start leaving behind all of the people underneath you, what does that really say about who you are and why you are doing your business?
mhm. And by underneath you, you mean, see, I know what you mean, but it's like, what's
Like
a
just
word?
behind you, like one step behind, like just
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah,
figured out or experienced everything that you have to have the knowledge that
yeah,
you have. Like
yeah,
they're a step behind. Maybe it's because they're 10 years younger than you. Maybe it's because they just got into their career, they just started entrepreneurship, but
yeah.
you've been in it for 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's that like we don't, that's, yeah, you're saying let's not get tied up into judgment of who inquires with us, who yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And
And
I
if
do
you
see,
do,
sadly, that's why I don't really chill on Facebook a lot, because it's just you see a lot of the you know, what's it called? Vent. This is a vent post. Everybody,
yeah.
this client,
Mhm.
blah, blah, complaining, right?
There
And
is a
it's like,
lot of that on
and
Facebook.
that's the ego that we're talking about, of the me, it's about me. But what
Right.
if we just like, for a moment, if you're having a harder client situation, like, how can you still blow them away and serve them and say it's not about me, it's about them? And then learn from that, learn the red flags, create your own boundaries for the next person, but still treat that person like gold because they came into your world. And we need to
Right.
be grateful for that. Fix the problem, learn your lessons, set the new boundary, move
Boundaries are
on.
one of the most important tools that you will ever have in your business. And the only way that you'll ever really be able to understand what your boundaries are through experience. Because
Yes.
some boundaries you can
Yep.
never even imagine until something happens. And you're like, oh my gosh, like for me, it's not even fathomable that you could act that way. But clearly some people do. So I need to set a boundary to be able to keep that out. It's also important to have systems in place on your on not just on your onboarding process but the inquiry process.
Yeah.
Like you need to be interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you, and if you come to your inquiries just okay, either one or two approaches is what I see most common with photographers, specifically in the branding space. And that is, I am so desperate for work. As long as you're willing to pay me, I'll do whatever it is that you want.
Hmm.
Or it's the exact opposite of, this is what I offer. This is the only thing that I do. And either you're on board or you're not on board. And that's a mindset that can advance you. And that's also a mindset that can really, truly hold you back from
Hmm.
expanding at the rate in which you were designed if you are completely aligned with how you run your business.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like this. It's like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on
Yeah.
for both of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
because
you're
they're
wondering, why is my car not
yeah,
going? I've got my
because the
foot on the
first the
gas.
first photographer that's feeling, and by the way, there's like literally we are all like human beings with emotions that are subconscious, conscious, like there's so much, right? So if the first photographer is like you mentioned, what did you say? Like, I'm gonna do anything to like just book this client,
Yeah,
right?
they're just desperate.
It's
Like,
like,
I just need work. I
yeah.
need money. So
And
I
that
don't
comes
care.
from
Just sign up.
like innate
Scarcity.
need to, yeah, survive, scarcity, whatever. So if
Hmm.
we're making decisions from that energy, fear and scarcity is not actually in alignment with our actual power, our
Right.
actual like um creativity, like our feminine energy of like being able to like problem solve and use our intuition and create how we want to create. It comes from this like fear energy. And then the other one, which is like, this is my right, and if you like it, like there's a way to have to be about your pricing of like,
Mm.
this, yeah, this is what I charge, and like this is what I'm very
That's
honored
where
and
boundaries
excited,
come in.
yeah. But then
Right.
if the person is coming from a place of like, this is my pricing, take it or leave it, and like, I'm just this good now, there's that energy is also, it's like a ego energy.
Hmm.
And that's, I think, what we're, if anyone's like a little confused on like what we mean, if you're e- operating from either one of those, you're out of alignment, and it's because both of those scenarios are the person operating from ego, from survival, or I'm better than everyone,
Hmm.
and these are just natural freaking emotions, you guys, and thoughts we
Yeah, this
get
is
from our
this is
subconscious mind.
human.
There's nothing
This is
wrong there.
literally the
Yeah,
human
human.
experience. This is what
You're
has
not a bad
allowed
person if you've been
humans to
experiencing
evolve.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what has allowed, your ego is what has allowed humans to evolve to the stage in which we are now. It has kept us safe, it keeps us alive. However, your ego is always going to try to keep you exactly where you are,
Hmm.
because what you have done has kept you alive. You are still breathing. So your ego is like, no, don't step outside your comfort zone.
Because we
Don't
are
go do
safe. We
something
are
that really
safe.
scares. You're
Yeah,
safe right now. Why would you leave this safe
yeah,
place?
yeah,
And
yeah.
when it's so easy as humans to really get comfortable with our egos. right? Because we
Mhm.
see how it has kept us alive. And it's terrifying to step into a place that you don't know what the outcome is going. And this kind of circles back around to what I was saying earlier of when you have this attachment, whether it's going to fail or I'm going to fail or it's going to succeed and I'm going to succeed, you're living in the future that hasn't happened yet based off of maybe past experiences, but the past is in the past.
Mhm.
Past can repeat itself if you're taking the same actions that led to the result of what happened in the past. But guess what? When you take new action, you get new results.
Mhm.
And your new results are never a bad thing. If it's not what you wanted, then there's a lesson for you to learn in there. And as
Mhm.
long as you're not willing and open to learn what that lesson is, you're going to get that lesson over and over and over again. And that lesson is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. The consequences are going to become heavier
Yeah.
because you haven't learned the lesson yet.
Yeah.
And once you
Yeah.
start to learn the lesson and take action that shows you've learned the lesson, that's when you'll start to experience new results.
Yeah. And growth and feel lighter in the growth and have more fun. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Me and you
Yeah.
can talk about that stuff forever.
Oh, yes. I think that we can.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to circle back to now let's kind of like connect the dots based on because you at one point said you were like I'm swearing off mini sessions, right? Like
Yeah.
what are some common beliefs that you notice floating around in photographers' minds like I believe this about mini sessions or this or this. Like what are some that are just like beliefs that are you feel are holding them back from like you said the word possibility. I love
Mm.
the word possibility because
Yes.
possibility just expands us into do it like more of what we want and like it's possible like you sitting here telling us what you've experienced and been able to do you've just shown someone possibility so let's maybe talk about those beliefs that are like limiting photographers from actually being able to yeah book out mini sessions at a higher rate even.
So, the biggest belief that I have seen from other photographers that is holding them back is that they think that mini sessions, especially high ticket mini sessions, are not possible for them, that there's just not for them. They're not
Mm-hmm.
capable of doing it. And a lot of this derives from them actually trying it, launching a mini session offer and getting zero signups or maybe only getting one or two. So they're just barely covering their costs and they're not really getting anything in return because it's such a low ticket offer. So that is the biggest belief that I
Wait, low
see
ticket or high ticket?
when
Oh, so
they
you
when they
said
launch their low ticket offer.
yeah.
They're getting either zero signups
Mhm.
or they're getting maybe one or two signups, like so maybe they're able
Yeah.
to recover their costs
Yeah.
but they're not making any money themselves.
And you
So
also have experience with photographers trying the higher ticket mini sessions?
none of my students have tried to do a higher ticket. And it
Got
goes
it.
back to this belief
Yeah.
of if I can't do a low ticket offer,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
no way that I
Right.
could do a high ticket offer.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
That's
Okay.
the
So
biggest
that's
belief that holds them back. That's what most of my students came
mhm.
into my program. That's what was holding them back. When I would ask, what's holding you back from doing a mini
Yeah.
session? Well, I've done it before and I got zero signups, or I've launched multiple
Yeah.
times and I'm, in the hole, or I'm barely recovering, and or there's just so many pieces that I have to, so much coordination of making sure that somebody's got my kids for the day, or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be, that the amount of money that they were making
Yeah.
it was not worth it for them to go through all that quote unquote hassle and coordination to
Got
practically
it.
make nothing.
And it's just pretty, it just comes down to just not knowing how to just A to Z execute to get those results, pretty much, right?
Right. Hmm.
And what's another belief that comes up for you that you notice?
The other one that I see a lot from, and this is kind of the other end of the spectrum of the example I just gave, in that this is coming more from like the established photographer, the one that is successful and is doing really well and has for several years. And that it goes back to the label of what a mini session is, and that it's quick, fast, and cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to offer a mini session
Mm,
because mini sessions are quick, fast, and cheap. And that's not what my business is about. Well,
mm.
I'm sorry, but my mini sessions are not fast.
Yeah.
They're not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking minimum $1,000. Now I'm at 1350. I would not
Yeah.
consider that cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're not low quality. I'm not giving my clients less of me and less of my
Mm.
skill and knowledge during a mini session compared to a full
Yeah.
session.
Just less time,
Yeah,
and that's worth it for you.
we're just
Yeah.
not literally, this is what it comes down to. We're
Yeah.
just not creating the same volume of content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And specifically in branding
Yeah.
photography that is geared and focused on you marketing your business,
Mhm.
everybody markets their business in a different way. Some people need a large volume of
Yeah.
content, other people don't. They really do just need a smaller amount. And for those that are willing to invest in their business and in themselves and the growth of their business, that don't need smaller content, what, you refuse to work with those people because they don't need as much as the next person does? That just does not compute. That's dividing by zero for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's still an ideal client in every other aspect of what your ideal client is. They match you energetically,
Yeah.
but they don't need as much from you.
But you know what? I think it just comes down to, this is what I genuinely think. It's this, like, I've been a photographer for 13 years. And when you told me, yeah, my mini sessions, when I first launched them, $1,000, 30 minutes, 8 in one day, I was like, I have never heard of that before. So I think it just comes down to, it's not even like, it's photographers just thinking like, it's not even in the scope of their thoughts of that's something that's an
Mhm.
option or possible. It's not even in their conscious minds.
Right.
So I don't even think that they can even think, oh, I can still serve
Mhm.
that another, portion of my community, of my audience, in a way that they need. That also works for me, right? Because 100% we need to first think about, yeah, is it profitable? Is it going to give me energy, keep my energy? Do I have the capacity? That's like number one around
Yeah.
this decision, right?
Mhm.
So what I love about you is like, you're just showing people, hey, this is something that's possible that you probably never even heard of before.
Yeah.
Like a way of doing it, right? And
Mhm.
now those photographers that are listening to this podcast that were like, yeah, I have this offer, and I swore off mini sessions, just like you did, right? You're like, I swore off
Mhm.
mini sessions. No, it's not worth it. Now they're like, oh my God, wait, there is a way for me to like
Yeah.
support other people in a different way. And you know what? Maybe that is, instead of you offering a mini session for $300, maybe you've tried that out, whoever's listening, or $150. I know people do that. Maybe it's about you expanding yourself a little bit more and being like, okay, I can test things out. I can learn how to do this effectively. And then maybe my mini session offer will be 500. And if it's $500, maybe that'll feel good for me. That'll be aligned for me. I'll be able to help other people that maybe aren't, willing to invest 1,000 in a session. Yeah. Actually, I'm actually interested to hear your perspective on this, because for me, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, say it, say it.
Can you tell by my face?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
So, one of the things that I teach my students is that it's really, really important when you are creating your mini session offer that it makes sense and flows with your other offers.
Yes.
So, for example, if you are not offering mini sessions and you're a branding photographer and you have, let's say, two other packages, and one is 1,500 and the other one is, let's call it 2,000. Okay. And you create a mini session offer that's $1,000, but for just $500 more, they're going to get a tremendous amount of stuff. Right. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, why invest 1,000 and get this little bit when I can invest just $500 more and get so much more. So it's really, really important that
Mhm.
you don't just throw a mini session offer
You have
together,
a price anchor of,
right?
yeah,
That
the higher
it
cost.
all flows. And
Yeah.
then you're creating on top of this, because this is how you really make this work. And you better understand how often to actually offer your mini sessions is having a sales strategy and knowing how many clients you can take on per year, how many you can serve per month, how
Mhm.
much money you want to make per month, per year, how many clients it really takes. There's all of these elements that come into play when you're creating your offer suite. So mini sessions are no different. They need to flow with your other ones. One
Yeah.
of my students, we literally ended up doing just a one-on-one together so that we could focus in on her pricing for all of her offers. So we completely restructured her entire offer suite to
Yeah.
have it make sense. And she was able to sell out some of her minis by doing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
because it's presenting them in a way of, hey, I'm here to serve you. And these are the different ways that I can serve you depending on what your needs are.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking about sales strategy, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the power of the wait list. Because this could
Ooh.
be something that, like, I mean, most photographers don't even think of or know of or even consider as a way to get booked out.
70% of the people that I have polled have informed me that they never even considered doing a wait list in order to fill up their mini sessions or to promote their mini sessions. And this idea all stems back to how I filled up my mini sessions. I already had a standing wait list. Now, you might hear that and think, well, yeah, you had an advantage. You had this. Well, yeah, of course, it is an advantage. Absolutely, it is. But it was an advantage that I was just given. I didn't just put people on a wait list, right?
Mhm.
I did the work to build a particular business and have a particular reputation that was bringing in people. I also talk about how to do that inside the course. We won't get into that today, but that's also inside the course because it's a major, major component to give you the advantage of having a wait list. So I teach you how to create a wait list. I teach you how to promote it, how to build it, all of the things, right? So this is not a, hey, go through this course and then go launch a mini session and boom, you're going to make a grand. Any program that promises you crap like that, red flag, run. Okay. It's bait. Okay. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in my program. Okay. I'm sitting here telling you right now that that's not what's going to happen. This is the long game. This is
Mhm.
about building a strong foundation. And the wait list is the most magical, powerful way of filling up your mini sessions because they're people that already want to work with you. They're already showing you that they are interested. So, going back to that sales strategy, when you're plugging in your numbers and figuring out what you can do in a month, how many clients you can serve, what that's going to bring in, it allows you to see where you could fit in an actual mini session. So
Mhm.
let's just say, for example's sake, that you're going to do it just one time a year. Okay. I have plenty of students that are like, listen, like, I like the idea of a mini session, but I don't think that this is something that I want to do more than once a year. That sounds way overwhelming to me. No problem. That's the beauty of this. You can do it however many times that you want to. There's no right or wrong. It's about what's good for you and your business.
Mhm.
So during, one of her biggest questions was, well, how do I promote my mini session waitlist and fill up my full sessions? I don't want to be promoting my mini sessions and
Mhm.
having everybody wanting to do that. And then I'm not filling up my full sessions. And the answer to that is that when you get on a sales call, connection call, whatever you call them, okay, when you're first talking to and somebody who's inquired with you, and they come to that realization, hey, I can't do this right now. It's
Mm.
just not within my budget. I'm just not in the place. I need to save for it. I hear that all the time from my clients that 8 months later, a year later, sometimes 2 years later, come back. I finally saved up my money. I'm ready to go. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a way for you to offer to them, say, hey, no problem. I get it. I have
Mhm.
another solution. And then you talk to them just very little about the mini session. You just plant the seed and then you invite them to join the wait list so that they get insider information on when the next event is going to be. They'll have
Mhm.
plenty of time to make the decision. And hey, if it's part of your process, you give them a couple of extra days before the public in order to be able to join. It's more incentive for them to get on the
Yeah.
wait list.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing it right, you're nurturing that wait list all year long. So just because they're on your wait list, that means that they are on your newsletter.
Mhm.
So with a lot of newsletter providers, they offer segments and you can email just a segment. But generally speaking, when you send out a newsletter, you're sending it to all the segments that you have, your entire newsletter. So you're constantly nurturing them and staying top of mind through nurturing your newsletter. So you're not reliant on them seeing your post on
Yeah.
Instagram when only 2% of your people are seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a way of being able to build that connection that is oh so important anymore, and that trust and know and like factor, which yeah, that's important but not anywhere near as much as the connection factor. You're
Mhm.
able to connect with them so that when you do pitch your offer through your wait list, they're more likely to say yes if the
Yeah.
timing is right for them.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, and I think wait, do you have like a story around the power of the wait list of like what happened or like oh no, also you can say the story, but I also even remember you mentioning um what was it? The oh yeah, if you send details to your wait list, now even people on your wait list go tell other people because they're like, "Oh my God, it's open now." So they become your like
Yeah.
marketers, evangelists, like
Yeah. So I'll give you two stories.
yeah.
The first story is branching off of what you just said. And that is the fact that, when one of my earlier launches this year, and the people that were on my newsletter and on the mini session wait list weren't able to do the next mini session event because they were going to be out of town or whatever the case may be. But because they have relationships inside their own industry and they were one of my clients or something along those lines, they've used me before, so their peers see them using and who is your photographer, how are you creating this content, all of these things, right? Then the person that's on my wait list will go, hey, by the way, Kimberly's doing her mini sessions right now, go check it
Yeah.
out, here's her website, or whatever the case may be. So even if the person on the wait list isn't able to do the mini session because the date doesn't align or whatever the case may be, they're out spreading the word,
Yeah.
talking about it. So that's one of the examples of a power of a wait list. But the other one I want to share with you is more specifically one of my students inside of Roadmap to Mini Sessions. And she just recently moved to a whole new state. So new city, no connections, no relationship, no establishment of her business in this area. She joined my program at the beginning of this year and wanted to use mini sessions to help build her clientele and build her reputation, and also to build her portfolio of local spots, locations
Mhm.
that they could use at a photo shoot. So she started implementing right away, building a wait list, promoting it, nurturing it. And then the very first one that she did, she filled up 80% of the slots in a
Wow.
brand new city just
Wow.
within months of
That's
starting her wait
amazing.
list.
That's amazing. And that's just such a
Incredible.
how much peace does that provide her? Because it's like, I can't imagine. I've never moved to a new new city like that, but I can't imagine like starting over being like, holy shit, where do I start? Right. And then it's like the peace and the calmness, which is just so like necessary for us to enjoy our lives and actually even build our businesses because we can't build our businesses effectively under stress. Our creativity drops, problem solving. So
Yeah.
That's incredible that you're able to help her with that. Wow.
Yeah, I remember when she first came into the program and she was telling me her situation and why she joined the program because she saw me do it, made her feel like it was possible for her too. And she was frantic, and you could see she was tight. You could hear the Russian hurriedness and quivers in her voice. How am I going to make this happen? How am I going to do this? How am I going to build this quickly? Like, I had such a thriving business before, and how do I just get right back to that again? And how do I start over in this new way? And literally just this past week, talking to her and hearing about this outcome that she's experienced, she has a completely different demeanor about her.
Mhm.
She is so much more calm and relaxed and confident that she is capable of building up this business when she is establishing it from zero, from bottom, from absolutely nothing.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and she's
Wow.
already working on her next set of minis.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I want you to tell us more about Roadmap to Mini Sessions, your incredible program that helps photographers with this. So tell us all about it. Tell us where they can get on the wait list if they're interested to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. So I'll start with the juicy stuff because that's what everybody wants to know. Like, what am I really going to get out of this program?
yeah.
And I'm extremely transparent inside of this program. There is no gatekeeping happening. I am showing you literally every single thing that I do, down from how I'm planning it, how I'm marketing it, how I'm running the whole entire process, the planning of it, the email templates that I send. You get the workbook PDFs that I'm creating for my clients that give them all the details and the mood boards and all of these things. I'm giving you all of this quote unquote masculine energy, all of the the action taking, all the steps, step by step, exactly how I'm doing it, even down to what happens after the mini session is done. So you're getting my entire process that you could literally plug and play into your business.
Mhm.
But Sarah, here's the thing that I know you can resonate with, and I know that you understand, and that is that entrepreneurship is not inside of a box, right?
Mhm.
So you see so many programs out there that really just are the step by step, like plug this into your business, copy and paste these emails, copy and paste this workflow and these automations, and you will have the same success that I do. And
Mhm.
maybe you're able to do that with all of my stuff. Maybe you are able to just plug and play in and see some success or great success with exactly what I do. But that's not going to work for every single person. There's going to be things in there that is a way of me doing it because it's aligned for me. That doesn't mean that it's aligned for you. So, what I am most proud about this program is module 1. And inside module 1, I'm showing you how to become a self led entrepreneur so that you can just take the pieces of my puzzle and insert them into your own puzzle to create whatever it is that you need for your business to thrive.
So you're teaching, you're sharing, you're guiding, you're teaching how they can make their own decisions throughout the program so that they end up in a place that they actually feel good about and not just after them implementing a bunch of shoulds,
Right.
right? Yes. And I love this so much. And it's like, is it kind of like blending in, would you say the feminine energy then? Because you have to trust, feminine energy is more
Right.
about the trusting your inner guidance, your intuition, what feels right, what doesn't feel right. Because I don't know about you guys listening, but we all have mentors that we look up to. And I've never ever had a mentor my entire life where 100% of everything that they said, everything that they did, I wanted to copy and paste. Like it's just not possible because they are their own unique human. I am my own unique human. And so it's so fun to just like take the things that resonate, that get me excited, fired up. Okay, I'll take that piece, that piece, that piece. And then we create our own piece of our own business, right? And so what I love about Kimberly, and that's why me and her connect so much, is we have this value of when we guide people, we don't put people in a box. And
Right.
like you mentioned, you you have this talent and beautiful skill of like tuning into the person. You can tell when something is a decision they're making, they're just making it out of should rather than what they really want. And so that's where you're so powerful in what you offer, because it really is such a your program is literally the plug and play plus let me guide you on how you can customize it for
Right.
you.
Right.
I love that.
Right. And, one of the tools that I give you inside of module one is the power of visualizations. So, this is what I like to call my superpower. It's why I feel like I am such a good photographer, because I can see everything inside of my head. So, it's very easy for me to make it come alive in a 3D world through a still photograph. And so I walk you through what your next mini session could look like. Now, I'm not telling you the location. I'm not telling you what props are in there. I'm not telling you what the lighting looks like. I'm simply guiding you through a process where you are able to tap into your inner child, into that feminine flowing energy, and see it for yourself. Right? How it feels good to you and what
Mhm.
you really want. If you like, endless possibility, you could have whatever you want. There's no factor of money, there's no factor of availability or anything. Like, you just totally push that away. Right. And so I'm walking you through this visualization so that you now have a compass of what you're working for. So this has impacted several of my students that have more of that logical mind, that really are more strategic and detail oriented. And you see these client or these students go into programs that have like a mindset piece, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, here we go, this unnecessary fluff. Like, okay, I see how this can be beneficial, blah, blah, blah. But will you just tell me what to do? Will you just give me the step by step? But when they stepped into this visualization process with me, they were able to get those details. They were able to see it crystal clear, and it gave them clarity going into the masculine modules, which is the rest of them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pick and choose. Yes, this is an alignment for me, or I like this process, but instead of step two, I'm going to do step one and three. I don't need step two for me and
Mhm.
my process, but I
Yeah.
can take step one, three, and the rest of them, right? It's getting them to a place where they can make their own decisions and not look for outside validation on this is the way to do it. Because everything that you need in order to build and create a successful business is already inside of you. And it's my passion and drive to pull that out and show you that you're capable of doing it.
Yeah, and where our intention flows, energy goes. And so if
Mhm.
your intention with module one, with that visualization, is for them to become self-led first,
Yeah.
it is a custom experience that they're
Yeah.
going through in module one. And then they move into the here is what to do, here's how to do it exactly step by step. And then they are empowered and they have the clarity on, okay, I'm going to go shopping. This is so much fun. I'm going to pick this. I'm going to pick that. I'm going to pick that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
love
there's
that.
there's other lessons inside of module 1. Visualization is one of the most impactful for my current students, but I also teach you really how to set those boundaries, what that really looks like, and stand in your power and gain your power back by creating those priorities and boundaries so that you're setting your business up with full intentions of a particular goal, and you stay on that track so that as you're going through the program, you can say, does this align with my end goal for mini
Mhm.
sessions? The
Yeah.
beautiful part about all of this is that, yes, it's roadmap to mini sessions. Yes, all of the masculine energy that I'm giving you is my mini session process. The emails are on mini session. How I'm creating the offers on mini session. Everything is based on mini session. But the reality of it is that you can apply it to any offer inside your business. So even if you
Mhm.
don't want to do mini sessions, even if you're like, nope, still not my thing, still not here for the mini sessions, you can still apply this inside of your business for
Mhm.
regular full size offers
Yeah.
and still win.
Yeah. Because really, at the end of the day, you can call it mini sessions or session.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Or
so it
what,
applies.
whatever kind of
Yeah,
session that it is.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't really matter the size or anything. You
yeah.
can apply all of these concepts that I'm
Mhm.
giving you inside of the program and implement them in your business to take you to that next level.
It's amazing. And so, do you have an idea of the timeline of when Roadmap to Mini Sessions is going to be open again?
Yes. So I'm actually going to be opening the doors. I don't have official dates, but we're looking
Yeah,
at September, the beginning
perfect.
of September. It's going to be, like I said, I'm finalizing all the details. We're looking at like around an 8-week program where I am going to be coming in and teaching the lessons live. However, when you join the program, all the modules are already there. So if you are
Mm.
more of that self-led person, you just want to dive in and go through it all, you have the opportunity to do that. You also have the opportunity to show up live and get that support from me. There's also going to be Q&A hot seat calls so that no matter where you're at inside the program, whether you're following along live, going self-led, maybe doing a little bit of both, there's going to be support calls in order to get you the support for wherever it is that you're inside the program, really anything to do with your photography business. That's why these calls are there, is to give you that support. So the idea is to start it towards like shortly after Labor Day so that you're wrapped up before the holiday season so that
Yeah.
you can begin next year with this whole new way of running your photography business.
That's amazing. And so, yeah, the link is in the show notes, you guys, for to get on the wait list, right? To get on the
Yes,
wait
there's a wait
list.
list currently
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you'll be able to learn more information. I'm going to be start filtering out some emails, dropping a lot of important details, including I'm going to be hosting live webinars at the end of August so that you can, and these are free, you can
Yeah.
come and you can see a lot more what the program is really about to help you
Mhm.
decide if this is right for you right now. Plus, there's going to be Q&As at the end, and I'll be there to answer any and all questions that come my way.
That's amazing. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you feel this like fire and excitement or like this pull to this or curiosity, even like, maybe like just click the link, get on our wait list, then you'll get so much more clarity from Kimberly along the way. And yeah, Kimberly, I'm so grateful for you sharing everything so passionately, so authentically, and you've just expanded the minds of so many photographers of like, oh, wait, okay, this is possible. And you just got some
I
people
hope
very
that
excited.
people, if they get anything from this, it's just that the possibility that there's a whole new way of running your photography business.
Yeah.
And it's a whole new era that's coming to courses. I see it through you, I see it through a few others. And it's really time to just step into the 2.0 version of yourself. And the only way to do that is to do something completely different than what you're doing now. And that's exactly what Roadmap to Mini Sessions is here to show you.
And just remember, you guys, when you are able to build a quality wait list, you don't even need that many people. It's about quality. Your confidence and like confidence rises, anxiety decreases because you don't have to just be like, I'm just relying on Instagram. I'm just relying on Instagram, right? Like ideally it's all word of mouth is always the number one, I feel like should be
Definitely.
is, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Right? Client experience always. And then if you're providing incredible client experience, referrals. And then to me, what I found is secondary has always been Instagram. For me, it's different because I photograph weddings, so
Mm.
I don't really have like a wait list. So that's
Right.
different for me. But branding, like branding photography, family photography, all of that, like just
Boudoir
really
photography, maternity photography,
exactly
like,
all the others that
yes.
like yeah. So like just really consider that for a moment of how powerful a waitlist could be and how much experience Kimberly has and how she's utilized it and how much you can learn from her. So keep that in mind. That is the way that it really does work to market your photography business. So yeah, so click the link in the show notes, get on that wait list. And is there any final words that are coming up for you, or do you feel complete?
I just want to tell everybody, live in the moment. Live in the moment of where you are right now and find ways to feel gratitude for everything that you've experienced leading up to this moment, everything that's happening to you in this moment. It's all for a reason, and it's here to guide you and show you. And when you get so caught up in what could happen in the future, you no longer are living in the moment, and you're missing out on a ton of magical things that can help bring what you want into in the future into fruition.
Yes, that was beautiful. I felt that. And thank you for that reminder too. I'm
You're
like, oh,
welcome.
yeah, I like that moment.
You're welcome.
Thanks so. Oh, wait, and where can everyone connect with you on
Oh,
Instagram?
yes.
Yeah.
So you can find me actually two places on Instagram for photographers. It's at Rising Photog. And then for my actual photography site, so if you actually want to see me working with clients on photo shoots, both mini and regular, then you go to my main account, which is at KimberlySRomano.com. You can also I know that you're putting the link in the show notes, but you can go to ksromano.com/RMS list to get on that wait list.
There you go. Perfect. Thanks so much, Kimberly.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This was such a fun conversation with you.
Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah no H, Monica with a K photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.